Open most AI tools and you get one thing, a blank box, a blinking cursor. You already know what you need, whether it's a cover, a canvas, a thumbnail, a visualizer. But before you've made anything, you're doing homework, figuring out the prompt, pick the size, pick the model, fiddle the settings. The hardest part of making something was always just starting. So we rebuilt the start. The moment you go make something, an image or a video, the first thing it asks is one question. What are you making today? You pick it. You say it in a sentence, and then you get it. And here's the part nobody expects. Every image you make is secretly the first frame of a video. So the cover you just made, 2 clicks and it's moving. The same scene can become a Spotify canvas, a vertical reel, or a YouTube visualizer, all from one idea. Today, I'm walking you through the new presets, end to end. A couple of these I made earlier so you could see clean results. A couple we're making live right now so you could watch it actually happen. Let's get into it. Today we're introducing the new preset menu. What's great about this, when you come into visuals, let's say you start from the dashboard and you go to select to generate either motion video or images, you get to a screen that looks like this. This is where you could create images and you can create videos all in one place. If you look on the sidebar, we have something new here called, it's a panel, it's our presets. And the first thing it asks is, what are you making today? You see, before, you were just kind of prompting to generate an image, but it had no context of exactly what you're trying to create unless you spent the time to prompt right here and explain the types of things that you could do. But inside of visuals, as we try to make content for music, for your release, or for content that you're putting up online, there's so many different asset types that you are looking to make on a day-to-day basis. And so if you look here, we give you a couple quick starts to choose from. But the best part, if I click browse, as you can see here, you now get a full library of assets that you can generate all from one place. These are all customized and set up with best practices. They all look great. We spent a lot of time refining through each one of these so that you can get a great output. So if we take a look here, as you see, we have our quick start. And here you could select things from like, hey, I want to generate a cover art. Okay, maybe you want to generate a YouTube thumbnail. Maybe you got a podcast or your music video and you want to create the nice frame for a YouTube thumbnail. You've got that option here. You could set up a Spotify canvas frame. You could turn your photo into a press photo. So maybe you've got like a casual pic of yourself and now you want it to look like a press photo because you want to go send it out or put it on your website or send it to reporters or anybody from the press. You could turn your cover into visualizer. So these are just so many. You could create an AI UGC creator, a music video frame, and you can even do things like reframing my photo. Maybe you have it in a square and you want to do it in a vertical format, or you want to upscale your low res photo into something that's high res. You see, the opportunities are endless in terms of the types of content you can create. And what's great about this is that we've separated them into 2 aspects. So on here, you could see that we're showing you things that you could do that are individual frames or images, posters, scenes for a video. These are all image types that you can select, because for those of you who have been joining us for a long time, you know that we love to start with the image, the shot first, because if you're going to create a video, if you're not happy with the first frame, you're not going to be happy with the video, right? So there's no reason to waste your time generating a full video until you know what it looks like. So that's why we typically start here. And what's great is that a lot of these are made. So for example, if I go to this category scenes, these are going to be things that you're thinking about that would work well for a video. Like you might want to create the scene for, well, this is a cover art, but let's just say a lyric backdrop or a vertical lyric backdrop, because you might want to put one for YouTube and then one that you want to use for like a Instagram reel or a TikTok post, right? So you've got them categorized. You could look at releases, what you want to put out. You could do like a lookbook frame, a location shoot, a film still. You could look at what you want to do for your catalog. These are typical things, whether you want to create time lapses, which we've covered on past sessions. Now you don't even need to know the prompt. You could just select a time lapse video. So this new, what we call our preset menu, will help you to create a lot of the different things that you might need on a day-to-day basis for marketing, but as well as to monetize music. Or again, if you're got a podcast show or you're a founder or company and you need to use something like this, you could use this as well. Here's what you got here. If I go over here to the video page, you're going to see we have the same style, same look, except these now are optimized for video generation. So you can grab the images that you generated, the scenes from the images, and you can select one of these options to actually turn them into a motion video. So these are now pre-optimized automatically so that you can turn those stills into video, okay? Now, what's great is you could just, again, prompt it and go directly text to video, okay? You could. Or if you already generated an image on and you already have it on your computer, you could just click here and you can select an image from your computer as well. That's not a problem. But again, now these are an entire preset menu that you can select from to be able to create content. So what does some of this look like? All right, so we took some time and we generated all of these. Okay, we've probably done dozens and dozens of each variation until we iterated it and got it right. I'm going to show you a couple examples all made from these presets. What you're seeing now on my screen, okay, we essentially put together a short concept for each, a one-liner, and generated a visual that came out directly from these presets. Okay, so we generated 37 different visuals that you can use for different purposes, and that's what you're seeing now on the screen. Now, these are all different concepts. They're not for the same song, the same album, the same show, or anything like that. All right, they're just different because I wanted you to see the diversity and the variety of the types of content that it can make, right? Like this, for example, let's say you're looking to make a YouTube thumbnail. Here's an example YouTube thumbnail. All you need to do is drop your photo and select YouTube thumbnail, and you can get a YouTube thumbnail, or put the name of that particular episode as an example. Or in this particular case, a cover art, right? Maybe you want to generate cover art. Now you could select a preset cover art, and here you go. Now you've got a cover art that you can use for your song. If I look at this one, this is a music video frame. So let's say you're trying to come up with a music video scene and you have an idea in mind. You select music video frame, type the general idea of what you've got, and here's an example still that you can use. This would be great for a music video. And there's just so much variety, right? If I look here, here's a press photo, right? Take a standard photo yourself in pajamas, it doesn't matter, and you can add it, and now it'll turn it into a nice press photo. And in this particular case, you've got this gentleman on a piano, and there you go, right? So there's a lot of visuals, and let me see if I can pull out a couple good examples, right? Here's another one, right? A candid shot. So let's just say you've got a photo of yourself and your producer, a shot of yourself, and you want to make it more of a candid photo so you can use it for social media content. You literally can select now the candid photo preset, and it will generate an image like this, right? So if I come back, let me just show you what I'm talking about. Let's go back to images, and if I type candid, here we go. All I got to do is select candid shot settings. Now, what's cool about this, right? Now when you select a new preset, we are automatically resurfacing the changes that we are making in the panel. So you don't need to know which settings to do. If you're going to do a candid shot, a nice 3:4 aspect ratio would be perfect for it. And that's what you can use for, like, let's say Instagram, and you can post that and it looks great, right? But if we left it to the default settings, it would have done a square 1:1. Maybe it's not the best way. We've already predetermined the best aspect ratios for every image and every video type that you see. And don't get me wrong, you could change that. So what's great is, because we're about to change it, we're telling you now that we're about to change it. So you're not going to get surprised later. And you could decide to disable it, right? Or for example, the quality was set at 1K, but for a candid photo, we prefer a 2K quality, right? Double resolution. So we have that enabled. But again, if you're just looking for drafts, you could just disable it, right? There's not a problem with that. If I click on another one, like a YouTube thumbnail, what's great is you could see on the right a preview. It tells you a description of exactly what it's going to do. So you're not going to get surprised. And it tells you what settings, dimensions, the AI model that it's going to use, and what it's best with. Like if you look at the bottom in the right corner, it shows you that the photo, you want to upload like your photo or a podcast cover. You can use an episode artwork or a scene reference in order to make your YouTube thumbnail. You don't have to, right? You could just prompt it and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about for my YouTube thumbnail, and it will come up with it for you. Or if you put your photo, it'll insert your photo into that particular thumbnail. So if I click on this one, look what's going to happen. This actually has more settings it's going to change, right? Number one, it's going to go from Nano Banana 2 to Nano Banana Pro, because we're creating a nice high resolution YouTube thumbnail. The aspect ratio is now going to change from a 3:4 to 16:9. We're going to show the artist name because we want the artist name to appear in this YouTube thumbnail. If you don't want the artist name, or maybe you're not an artist, so you don't want to show that, you could just disable it this way. Project title, which is going to be the title of the song. But again, if you're doing like a YouTube thumbnail for a podcast, just disable those two things. And then I can come over here and say a thumbnail for my new Insider Live episode called Meet the New Visuals Preset Menu, one asset, multiple formats. So I'm giving you an example of what I would do for my YouTube video as an example, right? And let's say I put my title because I already have it figured out as an example, right? I'm just telling it a thumbnail for my new Insider Live episode called Meet the New Visuals Presets Menu, one asset, etc. Perfect. So now I've got that. I've got YouTube thumbnail selected and Nano Banana Pro. Now I'm just going to go ahead and generate this. I'm not going to upload my image yet, but I want to show you an example without an image. Let it come up with something based on the context. Now, pay attention. I did not put any details in the prompt, right? I could put more. When I say details, I mean like I didn't tell it a style. I didn't upload a photo for a reference, so it has no context. It's going to make it up based on what it thinks about. I could put a screenshot of the product if I wanted it in there, right? Maybe I could do that live. I could, again, put my photo in there if I want the image. So the variations are endless in terms of what it can do. We're going to see this as an example. Look at that. Okay. So now it came up with a YouTube thumbnail, and look at this. It took my title, it got the context of it, and here we go. One asset, multiple formats, Insider Live presents. Because I gave it the name of the show, Insider Live, and it reformatted what my title is to something that works for YouTube. Because that's what this does, right? I didn't say you had to use this title. I just gave it context on what the title is. What's cool about this too is if you have the transcript, okay, you could just copy and paste the transcript right down here and say, here's the transcript, come up with a good YouTube title based on it. Because again, we selected YouTube up here, so it already has context of it as an example. Let me just select a photo as an example, and I'll just throw myself in there. So I've got my YouTube thumbnail, I've got my prompt, it's the same episode. Now let's generate a YouTube thumbnail that actually uses my photo and see what it comes out like, right? And by the way, this works for artists as well. And I'll show you an example right here. This is a YouTube thumbnail generated. This is a made up example, Lady V Resist lyric video, right? So let's say you got a lyric video, you want to come up with a YouTube thumbnail for your lyric video. This one combined the photo and this cool effect with it, and here you go. Now I've got my YouTube thumbnail. So this is an example of how you can use it even for your music videos, for your lyric videos, for YouTube visualizers, right? Don't think that this is just for a podcast or anything like that. You can use YouTube thumbnails in so many different ways. Check this out. All right, wow, we should use this one. What do you guys think? It took my photo. It says, meet the new visuals preset menu, Insider Live, one asset, multiple formats. I mean, check that out. I now have a YouTube thumbnail for my episode. You can see how by giving it a photo, right, it made a huge difference in the design and the style. Look at that compared to this one, right? It still looks nice, still similar style, but you can see how it looks different than this one here. So I've got those two. And then you could see when we did something for an artist, how a YouTube thumbnail looks completely different as an example. Let's take a look at a couple other formats. I want to see something in here. Let's see. I pulled out a couple examples. Let's say you're an artist. We got a couple examples here. Let's say you want to create a story, a countdown. Maybe you got a new song dropping soon and you want to create something nice and cool that can be visualized. Here's an example that we generated. New single, Echoes of Tomorrow. I want to try to recreate this. Okay, this is called the story countdown as an example. And again, what's cool is this works for a lot of use cases. I'm going to come over here and say story countdown frame. Here we go. And I'm going to read the description so you can see what it says. Create a story ready frame for Instagram or TikTok. With title on, the model writes the title, date, or new single label right into the design. Turn it off for mood backdrops you will add stickers to. So if you don't want it to have any text on it because you know that you're going to throw some stickers directly inside of Instagram for it, then you or TikTok or something like that, you can disable it. But in this case, we want to drop the song title and name. Right now, it's going to select the aspect ratio. It's going to change the project title. Look at this. It's also asking if I want to clear my prompt, right? You don't want that. If you wrote a prompt and then you selected a preset, you don't want it to clear it. So we kind of leave that off by default. But most of the time, you want to clear the prompt unless you wrote it specifically for this format, because I don't want my YouTube thumbnail prompt to be coincided with this story countdown frame that we're trying to create, because I'm going to try to create it for a completely different use case. So I'm going to go ahead and clear my prompt and apply it. And here we go. You're going to see now I've got my story countdown selected. It tells you what you're working on. Okay. Down here, look at even the text here changes. To give you an example, like story for 3 days until release. I could type that if I wanted to, right? I could put my photo if I wanted to, but I'm going to do it without a photo so you can see what it looks like. Now, here's what's really important is that we can customize everything based on the music. Okay, it doesn't just have to be based on a concept. So I'm going to go ahead and select a song as an example. And so if I come over here and I just select a song, Too Easy. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to select a song title. In this case, what I want to say is a story for my new single called Too Easy. It drops on July 4th. It drops on Friday. just giving it something like that, right? As an example. A story for my new single called Too Easy. It drops on Friday. So I'm not giving it much more context aside from that. I just want you to see what it looks like so you can get an example. If you're very picky and you know the style, you know the design, the two ways that what I want you to do is in here, you're going to type what style you want. Okay. And you, as well as you can upload a reference image. Either it's a graphic and you say, hey, use the style from this reference image, or it's a photo that you want to use in it. And the other option you have is you can also customize it by selecting styles in this side panel. I didn't select any, so it's going to make one up automatically, right? But if you know you want something photorealistic or animate or grunge, select it. Here we go. Check this out. Okay. I now have my story. Here it is. It's for my song called Too Easy. New single drops on Friday. Look at that as an example. Okay. I didn't use a photo, so it made up a photo. So if you want a photo of yourself, you can drop yourself in here, right? So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Let's say I click remix into an image. Just remember, you can always remix a photo into another one. Now, in this particular case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it, I'm going to go to multi-image mode. I'm going to select a photo, and I'm actually pull my photo in here. So let's say I'm an artist, I got my photo, and what I'm going to say, replace the photo of the person leaning against the wall with the portrait photo of the person in the black shirt. Now, I have to be specific, and I don't want to name people, okay? The AI models, by naming it, sometimes can do funky stuff, or it won't generate at all. That's why I like to say, like, photo of the person, of the gentleman, of the subject, all right? These are the things that you want to call out, and you're going to see that anytime that I ask it to do something like that. And so there you go. What did I show you? I showed you can use the what are you making today. I selected the countdown format, talk about my new release, a new song that's dropping, created it without an image, and you saw what that looks like. Here it is. The song's called Too Easy. New single drops Friday. I can literally put this on a story, right? But I didn't put my image because I wanted you to see what it looks like. Now I'm going to replace that subject with myself. That's hilarious. And here I am. So if I came out with a song called Too Easy, this is what it would look like. And there you go, as an example. You could see how you could use this as a creative way to be able to create your content. So I want to try a couple more presets. And by the way, drop in the chat. Tell me what you think. What do you think of this? Should I go ahead and post this? I don't have a song called Too Easy, although I love the song called Too Easy. So, but go ahead, let me know. Let me know what you think. Let's see what's another one to give a shot to, right? Let's do a cinematic. Let's do a cinematic visualizer. All right. And I'm going to show you another trick that you could do inside of here. That's pretty cool. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and browse through my library, and I'm going to do a cinematic visualizer. Okay. Now, when we say cinematic visualizer frame, this could be something that could be used, like it's a create a premium cinematic still in the register of like an Apple TV ambient screensaver. It could be wide atmospheric depth, painterly color, designed to be animated into a slow cinematic visualizer. Okay, let's select that. I'm changing the model, changing my aspect ratio. I'm going to clear my prompt. Perfect. Now, we kept the reference images. Okay, we don't have to. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of it, but in case you wanted to keep it, it's there. Now, in this case, what I want to do is I want to actually select a song from my library, okay? Because one of the things that you could do is that when you combine the asset type, right, that you pick from a preset, as well as the song title, you can get some pretty interesting scenes. So I'm going to go ahead and select this song, Berghain from Rosalia. In here, I could do two things. I could do one where I generate a prompt from the song, okay? If you do generate from a prompt from a song, it's literally only going to do create a scene based on your music alone. Okay. Down here, if you hit the magic icon, okay, it will both combine the song analysis as well as the cinematic visualizer. Okay. So it has the context of exactly what you want to create. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit the magic icon. Okay. You notice I didn't put anything in the text box. I am literally just going based off of two things, the cinematic visualizer frame, as well as the context from the song, because it's going to get the lyrics. It's going to know what the song is about, the artist name, the color, the mood, the genre. It's going to have all that context automatically. And if you look here, it created a prompt. Look at this. A vast brutalist concrete hall at night, cathedral-like and almost empty, with a lone small silhouette standing beneath a hard shaft of white gold light cutting through smoke and dust. I mean, you could see that it tried to put together a scene that we can use for this particular visualizer as an example, okay? Now, because all the settings are already done, I'm just going to go ahead and hit generate. While that's generating, I could have easily come in here and said, make the scene vibrant and pink, vibrant and pink. I'm just going to do that as an example, right? If I do that, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to understand, it's going to do a cinematic visualizer frame. It's going to analyze the music so that it can come up with an idea, but then it's going to come up with a prompt. So if I read the prompt, it says a vast cathedral-like industrial chamber flooded with vibrant pink and magenta light. Its wet concrete floor reflecting rose, crimson, and violet tones like liquid glass, right? So I'm going to go ahead and hit generate so you can see how just that one minor tweak before I hit the prompt generator, what it's going to do to my scene. So this is what it generated without my custom pink, right, attribute that I put. But what does this look like? I mean, it's cinematic visualizer that you can use, right? I could already see, and I'll show you. Maybe we'll animate this one or the other one, depending on which one we liked the most. It kept the vibe of the cathedral, the space, and everything like that. But look at the color scheme. Completely different, dramatically different, because it incorporated the pink colors and what I put inside of the prompt instead of just generating the idea, as an example. So now combining our new preset menu, okay, this along with our prompt enhancer and generator over here, you can come up with some pretty unique content, as an example, okay? So let's say now I've generated some scenes. I need to turn them into video. I don't want to just post some static shots, as an example, right? We could take one of these, and I don't know if anybody's got any preference. We could do any one of these. I mean, let's try it, right? We tailored it to pink. Let's go ahead and remix it. So now I'm going to take this image. I'm going to remix it into a motion video, okay? Right here. Now notice what happens. When I bring it into a motion video, you're going to see now it kept my prompt. That's fine. But it also brought in my image automatically. And I can come over here and let me see if I have okay, perfect. You're going to see we have one called Cinematic Visualizer. This is the pairing to the frame, okay? And you can see it. It says here, pair with your Cinematic Visualizer frame to bring it to life with sweeping ambient motion, wide atmospheric depth, painterly drift, designed to hold viewers on a YouTube visualizer or instrumental release, okay? I'm going to go ahead and select that. It's going to update the model, the image, the audio, and it's going to clear my prompt. Now, I'm going to use VO 3.1 Flash, so I'm going to ignore this setting right here. Why? Because I need a draft that's going to be much quicker. So I don't want it to use the higher res model right now. This will generate much faster. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and click apply. Now I've got that. I don't need a prompt. You could see I've got everything here, 16:9, perfect. Because I already have selected a cinematic visualizer, I'm just going to go ahead and hit generate. We're trying to eliminate as much as possible, okay, the need for you to type a prompt into the box. The reason you should type a prompt is going to be because you have a certain style or idea in mind and you want to influence the AI in that direction, but you don't need to be a prompt writer. As simple as what I showed you that, make sure to use the colors pink. Or, maybe I don't like the cathedral idea and my song might lend itself automatically because the AI lends itself to doing something like that, and say any idea but the cathedral idea, right? You could just give it any sort of context so that it has that information to generate. I want to show you an example, okay? Do you remember the scene? I'm going to go back so you could see. This was a YouTube thumbnail that we had made. You guys see that, right? Static image. I want to show you exactly what I did when I took that YouTube thumbnail and I turned it into a scene. And here it is. So what's great about this is that, and for you to think about, is that you could always take your YouTube thumbnail and animate it, and you can use that as the first frame of your video. And what's cool is that it acts both as a YouTube thumbnail as well as like a nice motion, so that when you press play, it's like the thumbnail came to life and then transitioned to your scene or transitioned to your video. It gives you multiple options, as an example. And so that shows you how you can actually turn that and animate that into a video. The other one that I want to show you that we did, okay, so before the session, was with cover arts, okay? So I took this particular cover art. You see this right here? I took that cover art and I put it in directly in here, and I selected the cover art to YouTube visualizer. And when I selected this, in this case, I decided to do a vertical. So I'm going to show you what that looks like if I click here. And we brought now that scene to life. Check out how I could take, again, a cover art, right? Here it is. I took this static image, this cover art, and I turned it into now a visualizer that I could do multiple things with, okay? One, I could upload this onto TikTok, okay, Instagram, or YouTube Shorts. Now my cover came to life. Okay, I didn't have to create a brand new asset in the sense of designing something completely new. And the other plus behind this is that you could use this for your Spotify canvas. This video is 8 seconds, and the limit with Spotify canvas is 8 seconds. You could take this and upload directly, and now this becomes your Spotify canvas, bringing your artwork to life. So this is an example, and I'm going to do this live for you as soon as we see the rendering of the other video. Let's see if it comes up. It's still making. So I'm going to go ahead and select from my library, and I'm going to pull up another cover art. We're going to try this live. I haven't tried this one. Here's a cover art. So we're going to do the cover to YouTube Visualizer. So I want to show you what it looks like if you were going to do it for a landscape version, right? So here I showed you the version that we were doing vertical. Now I'm going to do a landscape version. We're going to take this cover art. Remember, I typically like to start with the frame first, but in this case, I'm going to show you how you could still do it with an image directly from text to video. All I do is I upload an image. I've got cover to YouTube Visualizer selected. I'm not going to put anything in here. I'm just going to click generate. Okay. Why? Because Visuals, our AI, knows what to do, right? By selecting cover to YouTube Visualizer, it knows exactly what to do in this particular case to get a lot of the presets like what I showed you here. So you don't have to think about it. The reason, again, that you will put a prompt is if you have a very specific idea in mind, then please customize this as much as you want so that you can tailor this to look the way that you want it to come out. We now have a beautiful cinematic visualizer that you can use. It's ambient and it's just like zooming through. This would work great as a loop. You can use this for the background of your song and animate the audio. I'll show you an example of what that looks like, but here you go. Or this could be one scene of many, right? Insert scene, then cut to another scene. And you can do this and iterate individually until you get the output that you're looking for. All right, the second one, let's take a look. Check that out. How cool is that, right? Look at the cover art. Then the cover art morphs into the scene and it all comes to life. In this case, for example, you saw that the artwork started with the cover in a square format. Let's say I didn't want the square format. I can go create the frame first and then create the scene, right? You don't always have to do it this way. And that's why I like to do the scenes first in case you want to customize and tailor it towards what you want it to do. So I'm going to throw one in here. We've done this on a past Insider Live. We have one here called scene coverage. You could do it with 16 angles or 9 angles, depending on how many shots you're looking for. But this is essentially, you drop in a reference image and you're going to get the same scene shot from 16 different camera angles. Okay. I did a whole session on how you could do this. Now it's one click. You select different angles. Actually, let's go ahead and grab this scene. Okay. I now have this scene in pink. Beautiful. Now I'm going to select 16 angles. All right. I'm going to clear my prompt and I'm just going to go ahead and hit generate. So now I'm going to figure out 16 other angles of this exact scene, okay? Because maybe I love the shot, but I want a different angle, I want a different view, and we want to reimagine what this space looks like, okay? That's exactly what we're doing in this particular case. We could do the same on almost any image. I can take this shot that we did here. I'll bring it in. I do 16 angles. Here we go, scene coverage. I'll clear my prompt, and then I'll come down here and hit generate. And so I'm going to show you 2 different examples so you can see what that particular feature looks like, so you can see what it does. So there's another one that I think is important. Like, let's say you're creating YouTube videos, okay, for your song or your video. This is an example of a single scene visualizer that could be created, all based on the music. And so this was a cool shot, I thought. So I do want to generate a video so you can see what that looks like. But you can also see here, if you create pseudo videos for music as an example, where what it does is it takes the cover art and it lays it out in a beautiful format. And the idea is that it'll put the title and artist name inside of here. In this case, we wrote the name pseudo. It was just an example to be on a demo. And then this could be the shot that you use for pseudo artwork instead of like the boring, you know, just image on left and text on right. You can come up with different variations of formats that you can use for pseudo videos. Okay. So let's pull this up now. Here we go. If you remember, now we have 16 different angles for this particular shot. And you saw all it took was 1 click or 2 clicks. Okay. We don't want to exaggerate. You had to select the preset and then you had to click generate. And you can see here, it automatically determined and figure out, like, look at this shot. It was all from the shot of him on the wall. It extended the scene. It did close-ups, right? It does a shot of the shoe. Beautiful. And then the next one, let's take a look. Look at this, right? Do you guys remember this scene? The scene of the person, look at this. It zoomed in on it. It gave you different body shots. Like, look at this here, right? Check it out. Like, now you have different shots, different scenes you can use for a video. for the one that you like. And what's great is you could remix it and say, hey, I like the shot, the top aerial view in the top left. Recreate that scene. So this gives you options to figure out what that looks like. And again, this is the all new preset menu. You can now select from our entire library. And what's cool is that you could just experiment, right? Try a couple of these out, play with them, see what it is that you're looking for. Again, you can even create merch, take your album cover, come up with a design for a t-shirt, right? Or a sticker die cut. If you have a product like headphones or something, you could literally put that as a product mock-up. Again, you could do a product photo shoot grid. The opportunities are endless, and I can't wait to see what you create with this. Please, you could share it in our community. If you're here, you're still here, please, on YouTube, I want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's at Visuals HQ. You're here already. Just subscribe, hit like, drop a comment. Tell me what you liked about the session. What is the number one use case that you see that you're going to use from this pre-selected menu? And let me know. I'd love to see it. And that's a wrap. Thank you everyone for joining us. I appreciate it. It was, as always, a pleasure. Sebastian Mourra. I am the CEO and co-founder of Visuals.fm. If you need anything at all, please reach out, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.